Hi, my name is Alessandro Gangelosi and that's a video tutorial coming from cgcookie.com for Max Cookie. Today we'll start a new series talking about Photoreal rendering with VRay, and this time we'll work to create an interior scene. So we'll do the modeling stuff and the illumination and shading using VRay, and we'll try to achieve a really nice looking final result. So we'll try to do something not so complex, just to have not so much time spent to make modeling. So first of all, let's check the unit measure. We have the centimeters, and I like to have the basic scale for the room we are creating. So to do something like that, I create a plane and I call it ground room. Okay, so let's say that everything will be maybe 10 meters by 10 meters. Okay, done. So that's the maximum space we have for our room. Let's remove the grid using the G key. Nice. So let's start creating the wall inside this room, and we'll have a bigger room and a more little room on the other side. So we can create something like, let's use a line to create the line of our room, and let's use a snap. But before, I'd like to remove the face there. So then back to the line, S key to have the smooth the snap, then right mouse button over the snap, and we can remove the grid points, and we go for the vertices. So you see that now the snap is to the vertices there. So I like to have the room done in this way. So let's imagine something like that, and then we have something like a corridor going there, but obviously we need to have another room on the side. So let's imagine that we have another room there. That's the corridor. So then there we have the other vertices, and then we go until there. But in this case, I like to change the proportion of our room. So let's imagine that we have something there, and then sorry, so let's remove the start new shape, and let's do the other vertices. Okay, so that's our wall, and we need to create another room there. So we can imagine that we have maybe we can use this one as the basic shape. So we'll have another room on the other side, but it will be closed for the moment, so it will be not a problem. Something that can be done is to have another room on this area there. So let's imagine that the main stuff there stay there, the ground, using the snap, let's say something like that. Okay, nice. So we have another room there, but it's just a little room. So we can imagine that we have again the wall on the side. So we can have the wall, and let's say that we have a rectangle using the snap, and again another snap. So there we have another room, and that's the main room, and then we have the pavement on the ground. So we have to, let's change the color of this one to see it better. I like just to tweak a little bit there the vertices, so let's zoom this area. So you see we let's remove the snap. Okay, this one is nice. Okay, let's see on the other side, that's okay. And let's say that there we have obviously to fuse these vertices, so fuse and weld, and there it should be everything ready. Okay, so that's okay, and the same there. Okay, so we have the wall structure there, so we can start creating the wall. And to do something like that, we have to pick the first one, and we can convert, or maybe before we can have a little bit of corner radius, let's say -0.5. And for this one we can select all the vertices. All vertices will be corner, and then we can go to have a fillet of, okay, let's do it manually, so 0.5, and that's all. So we have the stuff we need. Let's see with the zoom. Okay, it is nice, perfect. So now we can pick this one. First of all, let's try to save. So now we can convert this one to editable spline, and we can select the spline, and then we can create the outline. Let's say to make it manually. Okay, we have obviously now the problem because I made the stuff using the vertices on the other side, so that's a problem, that's an issue. So we can go back, let's see there. Okay, so we have no corner radius, and there, let's see, okay, it seems everything okay. Sorry. So all the vertices, right mouse button and corner, and we'll make the changes later. So before we have to pick the spline there, convert to editable spline. Let's go to spline, and then we can go to the outline without problems. Okay, and let's do something around 10 centimeters. Okay, so then we can select the vertices there, and we say to use sorry, I have a problem to see the quad button, but I like to do the fillet, so in the meantime let's do the fillet. 0.5. okay, done. Then we need to do the same for the other one, so there let's do spline and outline, and we can do it. Okay, there's a problem there with the vertices, so let's go there and let's check those vertices, and let's say weld. Okay, now it should work. So back to the shape, outline, and we can have something like that. Okay, sorry, let's do it manually, so 10 and done. Okay, it's not a problem to have there the wall on the other side because we are not working to be so precise. We can do this one a little bit bigger, let's say 10 centimeters bigger on both sides, so we have enough space. Okay, so we have the two rooms, and this one is the first one and that's the second one. So we can use the extrude, and that's, let's say, room wall 2, and that's room wall 1. Okay, the second one, let's say that we use the extrusion to have the wall, and let's say that we have the wall high 280, and maybe we can do it a little bit higher to have more space. Okay, and we can do the same for the room wall 1, so extrude, and we have 3 meters. So you see that we have the basic stuff done. So I like, first of all, to have for sure, let's see if we have enough space. Okay, I like to have a possibility to open a door there, so we need to create a box. Let's create it there. Okay, and the boxes as let's say that is I 220, and it is let's say maybe 1 meters 20, and let's do it a little bit more little, so let's do 90 centimeters, and that's not important, the height. So we'll open this one, let's say there, and it will stay there. Let's make a clone, so clone as a copy. So let's pick the first one, and we go in the extended and the compound, let's say boolean, pick operand, and we should have the right hole. Then we have to do the same with the second one, so let's go there, and let's say boolean, pick operand, and we pick the second one. So we should have the right structure. Then I like just to move a little bit this one out to have the right space, and then I like just to convert to editable mesh, and then we pick those vertices and we move it a little bit inside. Okay, so we have no more problem there. So as you see, we have the basic structure on this face there, and save, and we have to create let's say an aperture there. So I like to create let's say a window on the side, maybe 2 windows on the side, and then maybe a big window on the side too, so we can start preparing it. So we can add, for example, a window there, and let's go on there to have a box, and we'll create it there. Now we set the scaling. Let's say that this one is it's 120 there, so this one is more little than the other, and it is, let's see, 130, and it's the, let's say that I like to see also the dimension there, so I need a taper, and that's not bad. It is nice to have it there. So sorry, this one can be moved there, so this one will be near the wall, not so far, and then I like to have a bigger one, for example there, so we can move it as a copy, and this one will be not 120 but 160, so it is a bigger window. And then I like to have a big window on the side, so we can have, for example, stuff for the TV there and maybe some more stuff there. So let's say that the second one is there as a copy, but it is really big, so this one will be something around, let's say, 2.5 meters, or maybe also more, so we can go to have something around 3 meters. And this one will be obviously higher, but it will be higher on the back, so we like to have it on a good position. Then we can convert to editable mesh, and we pick those vertices and we put it there. So let's save and let's start to make the right hole in the mesh. So convert to editable mesh, and then we go there and we can try to use the in the compound the Pro Boolean and start picking, and we select the first one, the second one, and then the third one. Okay, nice. So convert to editable mesh, and we have the right space there. So I like to have a window also on this one. So to have a window on this one, we have to put another boxes. So we made something before there, so let's say something similar. Okay, and this one will be 130, and it is, let's say that for this this room is little, so let's go for a 120, and let's rotate by 90 degrees, so we use the angle snap. Okay, and then we move it there, so we'll have a window over this room, let's say there. Okay, so let's go in the compound again, Boolean, pick operand, and we have also the other window. So we have all the stuff ready there to be light, and we have just to prepare more thing. So then we can have we can close the scene there, so the sealing can be done using just a line. We can use the angle snap, and we can do something really simple. Obviously, if needed, we can do something more precise later, but I think that it will be enough. Let's say extrude. Obviously, we do it, let's say 5 centimeters, just to be sure that we are covering. And I like to zoom, and let's go near. Okay, nice. So let's create a temp camera using a physical camera from VRay. C key to have the camera. Let's remove the snap. Okay, something like that. And then let's select the camera target, and we can move it. Okay, then we can check to see something like that. Let's go for a shaded view, and you see that there. Now we have enough space to see the camera. So we can have something like that. We can adjust the camera later, so it's not a problem. Select the camera there again, and let's see something like that. Okay, you see that there we see also the outside wall, but we'll check it and we'll fix it. So let's use for the moment a daylight system. We'll see later if we like to use an HDR illumination or not. Let's say to use VRay. Then we go there and we say to use the VRay sun, and we like to have the VRay sky, so we can deactivate the skylight there. So a really nice thing we can do is to go there and to ask, let's say that our render actually is, let's see the show save frame, and let's say that it is an HD render. Nice. Let's see that now we render at 450, and we go to use the VRay RT, and we say to the render to go in a active shade render. Sorry, let's render it. Sorry, I had done a mistake. So there we have the VRay advanced, and there we have, okay, let's render it. Okay, you see that actually we have still nothing because we have to tweak all the parameters. So let's go in the production render, and let's say that we like to have the global illumination, and we like to have, let's remove the refractive GI acoustics, and we like to have the reflective GI acoustics, but later we'll see if we need it or not. So you see that we are starting to have the illumination inside the room. Obviously we have to tweak it and to render with it, and I like to use this one. Let's move it. Okay, and let's change the sunlight parameters. Let's say that we stay at 10, maybe 9, and let's say that the location is different, using just the north direction. So we'll change this one a little bit, so I like to see, let's say from this point of view. Let's see from the top. Okay, the windows are there. So let's say maybe something like that. So you see we have the sun on this position, and we can maybe have, let's change just a little bit if we have on the other side. Okay, and let's say that we stay at 8 or maybe 9 again. So for the moment the illumination is this one. We have obviously the shadows inside the room, and we are tweaking the parameters to have the nicer illumination, or later we can decide to have the illumination on the other side, but for the moment it's not important. So let's pick the parament and let's start tweaking a little bit the parameters there for the shaders. So that's the ground. Let's go in the material editor and we create a pavement shader. This one is a VRay material. So let's go there, VRay material, and let's assign. And there we have, let's say that we have a bitmap just to start, and we use a bitmap from 3ds Max. So let's go to the arc material, or maybe let's check directly in the wood if we have something that can be used. Nothing so much, so let's go in the arc material and we go down to the wood to see if we can pick, for example, this one or this one. Or maybe also this one is not bad. Okay, let's try to have this one, and we have to see if the scaling is right. So let's go in the viewport, and I like to rotate by 90 degrees. You see that it's really big, so let's try to have it more little. Let's think about it to have it more little. Okay. I think we can start also to use the actual render to make some tests. So that's the actual setup, but I like to go inside the render and I like to make some testing. So render, and actually we have the irradiance map. Let's set to really low, and let's use the light cache, show calculation phase. And in the light cache, I say to use 32 trait, show calculation phase, and let's say that we use more memory. I will use half my memory, so 32 gigabytes, and let's say I will use 24, so we can render. Okay, that's the actual render. Let's go to check the gamma settings. Everything is right. Let's go on the color mapping, and let's say that we are working with the gamma set to 2.2, and we use for the moment the linear multiply. Okay, that's the actual render. Let's close there. Let's go to use no anti-alias, and we use the enable the internal frame buffer, and let's select the camera. We have a still camera, and that's nice. Let's go to see the exposure, and I like to add no vignetting for the moment, and the white balance will be neutral, so we use a white balance without coloring. And then let's say that we have 250 ISO. Let's render again. Okay, and let's check with the RGB. Okay, we can try now to have another lighting just to see the differences. So let's go in VRay sun. Sorry, no, I made a mistake. So VRay light, and we say that this one is a dome light, and then we go there and we say that this one is set to off, and the dome light is set to use an HDR map. So we go there, and on a slot we use the VRay HDR, and we use a map coming with 3ds Max for the moment, and we say that this one is spherical, and we assign it as texture, and we say to use 124, and it is a full dome. Okay, so let's make again a test render. Okay, that's the actual illumination there. And then let's go there. Let's say that the shutter speed is set to 10, so we have more light inside, and we use the Reinhardt color mapping. Let's render again. You see that we have more lights than before. It is not so much, but we have more lighting. So in the other case, we can go there, and just to make a little bit of changes, I like to see what happens if we change a little bit the lighting condition there for the map. So we go for a brighter color with an higher contrast. We should have a better illumination inside. our environment, just a little bit, you see. Okay, nice. For the moment we can stay with this default value. We can remove this one and we can have back our view. Back to the material, the first one we were using, and we like to make some changes, and we have to add also some details. So the first one is this model. I like to have a darker color, so we can use, for example, a color corrector, keep all map, and we can have less brightness, or maybe we can do something really simple using, for example, let's say that we use the default map there as a copy, and we change it using the GIMP software. So we use a free software to do it. So let's go to, if you have this one is okay, or you can do the same using Photoshop. So let's open the file, and the file are on the maps, arc maps, and it is, let's see, because this one is not bad. Okay, the map is there, and it's called wood and plastic finer carpentry lacquer. Okay, we have it there. Let's open, and you see that there we have the map. Is nothing so good, but we can change the color. This one is in Italian, but you know there you have, for example, brightness and contrast, and their colors, and that's also brightness and contrast. And we go to make it a darker wood. Let's say that we have still okay, something like that. Let's see the differences. You see that it is really darker. Okay, then inside colors we have saturation, so we can change the tone and the saturation. Let's see, with less saturation I'm going to have a dark color, and let's change a little bit, and there the luminosity. Okay, nice. Let's see the difference. So you see we have more dark brown coloring. And let's go back to the contrast again. So we have more contrast, and again I like to change a little bit the saturation again. Okay, let's try to use something like that. So then we have save as. Maybe it's better to use the export, and we go in our folder to, in the Dropbox, tutorials, February. Okay, let's create a folder, textures, and we call it wood pavement.jpg. and say save. Okay, let's go back there and load the new texture. Okay, you see that this one is really darker. Let's make a new preview, and actually we see this one in this way. Okay, let's go in the material, and let's say that it is reflective, and we'll set a not so high reflection. You see that now we see the reflectivity over the ground. Okay, it is heavy reflective. Now we can use this one as a copy, and we go there and we use a color correction to use just a grayscale map. So we remove the saturation. Let's check the reflection level. Okay, so you see that it is different than before, and I like to see the map. Let's say that we have higher contrast, so we can decide to have some differences over the ground. So you see we have more differences over the reflection level, and that's nicer. Okay, let's see what happens when we have the reflection glossiness. I think I will go to have a little bit more reflectivity. Okay, so let's go to have a little bit more reflectivity, and to have more reflectivity we need to have more brightness, let's say 40. Okay, it is a little bit better than before. Let's say that we have 16 subdivision for the reflections, and let's say that we have 82 for the glossiness, and then we'll use a map to control better the level. So let's use this one as reflection glossiness as a copy, and then we have to change the value there, so it needs to be brighter. Let's go to something like that, and let's see the result. Okay, we are doing obviously a really simple test there, so maybe it's not bad, but we have to see later if it is working fine. Okay, let's say that for the moment this one is nice. Maybe we need a little bit less glossiness, but I'm not sure. Okay, so let's go to have a color for the ceiling and the wall. So we can use this one, and we call it wall ceiling. Let's select the wall number 1, and maybe you can do the other room in another color. So the first one, let's say wall 1 and ceiling. Okay, this one will be a VRay material. It will be obviously a standard material like this one. Let's say that our color is controlled by a noise, and let's see how it looks. We have to find the right scale of the noise, so you see that it is not so much big, so we go to have a lower scale, and we say that we use a fractal, and it will be a little bit like this one, a little bit, and then we go also to have the other color that will be something similar but a little bit darker, just a little bit, because I like to make some differences but nothing so visible. So let's see if we see so much differences over the wall. It seems nice. Then I like to have a little bit of brightness, just a little bit, and I like to have also the reflection Fresnel, and we'll have a little bit of Fresnel and a little bit of reflectivity, nothing so much. Okay, you see it's just a little bit. Then let's go to have a reflection glossiness. So we'll have a huge reflection glossiness, let's say 0.65, and we'll have 16 subdivision. Okay, you see it's not so much visible. If we like, we can have also a little bit brighter reflection, and we have the same color for the ceiling, but maybe it's better to have this one in this way, so it is a little bit more hot. And to do something like that, I like to have, for example, 40, and the same must be done there, so we have a little bit more saturation but with a little bit darker color. So let's say that maybe there the value is 180. So you see we have a little bit of differences. Okay, then I like to have a bump map over. So the bump map will be a bitmap, and we can use something coming from 3ds Max. There, for example, we have a concrete cast. Let's see if this one can be nice. We have to see this one. We need obviously a map. Let's say that we use a UV W map, and let's say that we use a box. Okay, let's say we use more tiling, maybe let's say 10 on the side and 20 on the other side, maybe 10, 8, and let's go to 20 there. So it is really high. Let's say that the blur is 0.25, and we have to check if it is working fine. Okay, we have a little bit of bumping. We can do the same. Obviously, if we need tweaks, we can do it later. We can do tweaks to the to the ceiling. So about the ceiling, let's do a copy, and we call it ceiling. The material is really similar, but we are changing the color. So we have a pure white color, and the second one is with no saturation, a little bit of gray. For the other things, we have to check the bumping. The bumping will be maybe a different map, but we need the mapping there. And the mapping, let's see, for example, 5, let's say 10, 20, okay, and 20. And we need another map. I like to make something different. Let's see. This one, for example, is a polished gray. Let's say with 10 and 10, 5 and 5. Let's see at full screen. Let's see with 1 and 1, just to see how much scaling we need. Let's go to 10 and 10. Okay, something like that can work. So let's save and let's see a preview. Okay, so we have the white there and the other color there. Then let's work at this room. This room can have the same color as this one for the wall, so that's wall 2. But we need to work on a different size material for the inside and outside. So the interior one, let's assign the material, and let's say that we have a UV map, and the UV map is acquired by the other wall as an absolute map, so we have the same mapping. So we have to change the color, and I like to have something like that with the same color but darker. Let's see if it can be a nice coloring. So again, a test. It is nice. Okay, so I like to change the outside for the wall there. So let's pick this model, and let's say with an edit poly that this face, but we have to change also the other one. So let's go in a perspective, and we have to change this one and this one as an ID, a different ID. So ID is set to 2, and edit select invert, we have 1. Okay, so back to the camera and back in the material, and this one must be changed, and it will become a multi sub objects. Keep all material as submap. So the one is for the interior, let's call it interior wall. Let's set the number to 2 because we have just 2 material, and let's say exterior wall, and we need a different material. We'll use a VRay material again, but we need a different map. Let's say that we have a bitmap, and let's say if we have something let's say in the stone. No, I don't like it. Let's go back to the maps there. I like to have some bricks for the exterior. Let's see if we have something inside the basic map for 3ds Max. Maybe later we'll change the map for the wood if the one we have it's not so nice, or maybe we can mix it. So back there, let's see if we have other maps. Okay, we are starting to see something. Maybe something like that can be interesting. So we are talking about the masonry, but let's see other maps. We can go maybe with something like that. So let's think about it. So let's say that we use this one, the cross, open. Let's see the map. It is too big, so we say to use, let's say 3 and 3 for the mapping. It should be fine. It seems yes. Okay, so we need the bumping. So for the bumping, let's go directly there. Let's say that we have the bumping there, the same map, but this time we'll use, that's the cross, so we have to go to the masonry there, the cross. Okay, and that's the bump map for this one. Okay, so we have the right bump map ready. Back to the render. So let's open the rendering view. We select just this part and let's make a preview. Okay, that's the actual illumination. We need for sure the bump, but I like to start preparing a preview at an higher resolution to be sure that we are doing the right way. So let's say 900 and preview. Okay, we can stop it, and I like to preview just this area. Okay, so back to the material editor, and let's think to use this one as a displacement. So let's copy it there, and let's say that the displacement is 20, and save. It can take a little bit. So you see that it is too much, first of all. So let's go to 10. And we say to use 1. Let's see. So let's go in the displacement there, and let's say that we use 1 for the edge length. We should have a better result. It takes a little bit more. Okay, you see that we have more detail. So let's go there, and let's say that we have maybe 5. Let's see the map there, and let's make a color correction. Keep all map. Okay, we have no saturation to be sure, and let's say that we have a condition like that. So we should see just the area with the right displacement level, and let's go back to 10 to be sure. Preview. Okay, you see that we have more, so we can go back to 5 for the moment. So let's remove the displacement from the rendering. So we go there, we have the global switches. Let's remove the displacement to be faster, and I like to have a little bit of reflectivity. To work at the reflectivity, we can use the bump map we were using. So reflect, copy. Sorry, we have to say to use the freshener reflection. Let's say that we have 1.5. So now we add the reflectivity. Let's see how much it reflects. Okay, it is enough. Okay, I like to change how much it reflects, and to change it we have to use a color corrector, keep all map, and we use a darker color. Let's see the result. So you see we have more reflectivity on some way and less reflectivity on another area. Let's see what happens if we have the reflection glossiness. Okay, you see that now it is not more visible. So we can use the same map for the reflection glossiness. Let's see the result, and then if it don't works in the right way we can change it, but it's not bad. So let's see with the bump map what we can obtain, and let's say to use 25 for the blurring. Okay, it is maybe enough, we can see with a higher resolution render. Back to the entire image, so we can remove this one and save and go back to the having no displacement, but back to a little preview. Okay, so we have the general lighting and the general result there. I like to start working to have more detail in the room. So to have more detail we can start modeling some stuff. So let's go there, and we can use let's say this one as guide. Okay, let's say that we change something. Let's say that we use another edit poly, and let's pick, for example, the edges, the visible edges for the moment, and we do a chamfer, and let's say that we use just maybe 0.5 with more steps. Okay, yes. Okay, so we have not so straight stuff there, but maybe it's better to have let's do a little bit more. Okay, let's go again to the chamfer, let's say 1 centimeters, and it will be better. Okay, nice, close. Then I like to add a little bit of details, so we can go in the top viewport and we work mainly on this one. So let's say that we use the snap, and I like to create a line. So obviously there we have to tweaks a little bit, so it is better to we have no more undo, so it's not a problem. Let's do it manually. So let's do a line until there, and there, and there, and then another line for there, and there. We should have everything, so let's go to hide the geometry. Okay, we have the line. We have to fix maybe some vertices, so let's go there. It seems okay there. Maybe just on this point, so remove the snap. Okay, just a little bit to be straight, and we have to fix this one. Okay, so we have the main lines there, and I like to create some stuff for the scene. So the first one is, let's see, the geometry. all right, sorry, we use the snap, so we have a wrong line actually, you see there and there, so we have to change it, and we have to move this one on the top. And the same for this one. So let's select the lines using just the shape. Okay, everything seems fine actually. So let's say that we have something there, and to do something there, let's say that this shape has some clone. Okay, so then we create another shape, and this shape is essentially let's say something really simple. So let's say something like that. Okay, you see it's a really simple thing. Now I like just to change a little bit the border there using the fillet, and there we can use a chamfer. Okay, so let's close, that's the line, and we can use, let's see, the wireframe. Let's select the line 5. Let's say loft. Let's redo the line because I like to have the entire line. So we use a line without the angle snap, and later we'll fix it. So just to have some points ready. Okay, so then let's go to fix the vertices, and we can zoom there, and this one should stay there, and this one there. Okay, then let's go to fix the other position. This one stays there, and this one stays there. Let's move to the other one. Okay, we do something not so precise because it's not a problem, the precision for this project, so we can go in a really fast and simple way. Okay, nice. And the last one. Okay, done. So this line can stay there. We can make a clone as a copy, and we move it there. Okay, the first one, let's go in the loft, get shape. That's the shape. Let's go in the shaded. Okay, we have to check the shape. It is okay, but we have to scale it, so let's see where we have it. Okay, we have it there, so zoom and zoom just to this area, and we can move it over the local axis to something like that, and we can scale it. Okay, this one has the same material. Let's use a new VW map, and we say to acquire from there as an absolute map, and we use the same. Okay, nice. Then I like to do the same for the other, and the other one is on the pavement there. So I like to create another shape, and we can do something really simple. Let's say that we have something like that. And then we go down and to something like that. Okay, let's zoom. And first of all, we fix the vertices. To have a better shape. Then I like to refine maybe there, and then to the vertices there. Okay, so then let's select this one, and let's say that we have a chamfer, and for the others we have there some fillet, just a little bit, but maybe no, it's okay for the moment. I think it's okay, maybe just those vertices a little bit inside. Okay, so let's try to use this one for the other shape. So this shape, sorry, the second shape is line 9, is line 8. Okay, again, loft, get shape, and pick this one. Okay, we have obviously to change. First of all, we have to move it on the ground, and we have to change the scale. So skin parameters, optimize shape to have a better quality mesh, but then I like to have also the mapping, and we'll see later how much mapping. Let's go to the, okay, the scaling can be done there, so let's select. Okay, let's move over the local axis. That's the maximum, so let's go there, and let's change the effect pivot, and again there. Let's say that the shape is this one, so you see everything is fixed automatically, and then the shape can be scaled. And then we can move the entire mesh over the ground, and we can make it manually. Okay, nice. Okay, this one can have, let's say, the same material as the ceiling. Let's save, and let's see the result. Okay, I like to make the hole obviously there. We have to make the hole there and to the other side. So let's create a box like this one. It will be really simple because obviously there we have to add some detail, so we can make a box similar to the other one. Okay, let's move it to there. Okay, so the first one, let's say compound, boolean, pick operand, this one. Okay, nice. And we have to do the same for the big window. on this side, so it is ready to be used in the right way. So box, and that's done. Nice. Let's select compound object, boolean, pick boolean, and done. Okay, we have the right mesh in this way, and I have just to do something more, and then we are ready to close for the part 1. And I like to do something like that for the top, so we can select this one and we can move it there, or we can mainly make a clone of this one just to have a nicer result. Okay, save. So I like to see why it is too dark still, because it seems too dark for the parameter we used in the physical camera. So let's go in the exposure control. Okay, that's the problem. As you see, 3ds Max set to on logarithmic exposure control when we created the daylight. This one must be not used because we are using the exposure control in the camera, so we have to remove it. In this way, I think we can select the camera and have a lower value, for example, for the shutter speed, and let's see with 200 ISO, and then render again. Let's see if we have enough fast settings, and let's do a preview. Because you see during the calculation for the gradients it was really fast. In fact, now it is working fine. You see that's the right illumination for our map actually, so that's the right way. I like to just to tune up a little bit the parameters there for the ground. So let's select this area and let's go there, and let's say to use the anti-alias to a nice detail. Let's see how it looks. Okay, it seems maybe just a little bit too much, so we can go. The things we can do is one is go in there in the reflection glossiness and change a little bit the parameter to something like that, and the second one we can see with a better quality using there an higher parameter. So for example, we can see what happens if we have 32 and 4 for the global illumination, the global subdivision. Let's see again, it starts to be a little bit better. Let's see something more about the material there. We have no bumping. We can add, let's say, the color correction bumping there. Let's say that we have 5. Let's say that we have no control over the reflectivity. That's the bumping. We can say that we like to have a more detailed bump map, and let's say for the moment 10, and preview. So you see, obviously it is we have to just remove the glossiness we are using there. I like to see just a pure reflectivity. Okay, we have this kind of bumping, and I like also to mix another map. So this one is mixed, keep old, and let's say with a noise. So I like to see a distortion over the ground. Let's say 30, and let's say that this time we have 100% usage of just the noise. You see, it's really, really heavy. Okay, so now this one can be used, but it will be used, let's say, at 25%, so just a little bit, some distortion over the ground, nothing so much. Maybe we can use also a little bit less, so let's say maybe 15. Then we change a little bit the reflection level, and again with the glossiness to see the final result. Okay, let's say that the distortion is okay. And back there, let's say that we have the map controlling the reflection. Let's say that we have more contrast. I like to see more differences in the reflection level. Okay, you see that it's starting to be more visible. Let's do maybe something more. So we'll have more differences, and maybe we can say to use less the reflection map. Okay, so now it's more visible, and we can say to use this one as 90%, for example, and we'll use there a white color. Maybe we have to add a little bit. I have just to tune up. Right, we have to use more. So let's say that this one is used at 95%. Okay, you see that we have some differences there. And then let's see again to use the glossy map there. Let's see the result. And if it is too much, we change it a little bit. Okay, let's try to make some changes. You see that there is really clear. Let's see if we make some changes. It is generally really heavy, but I think that if we say to use no map, and we set there to 0, for example 9, okay, you see that's a nice level. And then we can say to use again part of the map, let's say maybe 70%. Let's go for less, so let's say 45%. Okay, let's say that for the moment this one is nice. I think we can remove this one, and we can see a render test done using a nice level of quality. So let's say that we have also the ambient occlusion. Let's say if it is better with this one. Let's say that we have 1, and the level of detail there is 35 centimeters for the radius and 16 for the subdivision. Okay, you see that's the result. We can have just a little bit less, 0.75, and then we can set the quality to final render, but with taking not so much care about the quality. So we go for something like that, and let's say that we stay with this value for the moment. Maybe we can go for high, and then we go for custom, and let's say -1. We can try with the setup. It's nothing so much about the quality, but it's not bad. Let's go in the resolution. Let's say that we try to render at 900 and render. So that's the actual result. Obviously we have to work more on it to have the better result possible. we have to tune up still a little bit the development, and we have to work more on the render setup and start adding all the detail needed to the scene. So for the moment that's all, and I hope to see you back on Max Cookie to check for new tutorial coming from cgcookie.com. Bye.